Let me start to say how fantastic it is to be back at Local 793. Mike, thank you for hosting us, everything you're doing. I was here, Karina, we were here, a year ago, April 5th, a year ago. Anita, Karina, Seema, and I were here during the election campaign. And it was building on a partnership that had started before that, and we're building with John Giarichelli and Patty Haiju and others, and recognizing that the core of our strategy then as now, as Mike reminds me, is to build, baby, build this great country, and create great work for the skilled trades for generations. And I just want to take a moment, obviously we'll answer some questions, but take a moment to reflect on what's changed over the course of we recognize there are challenges getting apprentices through the system, into the system, through the system. And just to give people a number, you know, the folks here from the trades and Metrolinx, others, will be familiar with this, apprentices are familiar with this, which is a little more than a third of people who start the process complete. Okay, women and men complete the process. All right, we need more and we need a better process, so more complete. These guys complete, these guys build, but we need more women and men to do that. So that's the first thing to focus on that. Second, what we were thinking at the time is part of it, of course, is about the costs for the individuals, costs for the businesses. And we were talking about bonuses. We committed to a bonus of about $8,000. Okay. We committed as well that we were looking to scale up about 60,000 more skilled apprenticeship through that, and obviously we're looking to work closely, most closely with our union partners through the Union Training and Innovation Program, so-called UTIP. And we were talking again about $50 million at the time then. Today, or this week, what we announced in the spring update is a different order of magnitude, because we spent more time looking at the scale of the issue, more time with the unions, more time with the employers, more time with young apprentices going through technical colleges and others, the armed forces, etc. So to give the sense, in terms of that $8,000 bonus I talked about, we've converted that into an additional $400 a week for 40 weeks. So you can do the math, that's $16,000, so the bonus twice as much. A completion bonus for apprentices of $5,000, so they can help to transition and get started. We also recognize something, and you know, if you're at the International Union of Operating Engineers, you're thinking about the job sites that many of the graduates here, the skilled workers are here. There's issues around mobility, you know, getting to the job site and the cost for that. So we've significantly increased the mobility credit to more than $5,000. So we significantly scaled that up, another commitment that we had made. So this is all super important. It creates scale at union training. It makes it financially more viable for the individuals, women and men coming in for union training. But we recognized as well, and this is why it's important to really get on the ground, was what we've been doing, get on the ground, and see what is the experience of the individuals. When you first are interested in the trades, how do you find your first work? How do you stay through the system, looking through the various ways you can learn? And how do employers find young apprentices? And how can small and medium-sized employers be incentivized to have young apprentices? So we're creating something called Team Canada Strong, which is more than a slogan. It's a slogan, but it's more than a slogan, because it's really about a team, and when you have a team, you recruit, you train, you put them on the ice. And so the recruitment, it's straight through one-stop shop to come in, to have a modernized Red Seal process. So all of the work and the training is digitized and it can be transferable. So the small medium business has an incentive, $10,000 up to $10,000 per apprentice to bring that individual on. So there's multiple channels that they can go through to get the additional training, and that we help provide that first job, and we help to source those jobs down the road for the first job site job through, and of course the union plays a central role. So really thinking about a process from end to end in order to get to where this country needs to go. And what we're hoping to have, what we intend to have, because we're going to build for decades, is that as this gets into action, as this works, we may have to come back in a few years, and we may have to do more. We may have to scale even further. That's a challenge we want, because that will show that we're building this country strong. Alors, je vais être plus court en français afin d'avoir de temps pour des questions, mais c'est un processus de bout de bout, en effet. C'est de commencement le recrutement des apprentis, l'entraînement et l'embauche, avec des primes pour avoir de succès, une prime de $5,000 avec un supplément de $400 par semaine pendant la période d'entraînement et des incentives pour des PME, des petites et moyennes entreprises, d'embaucher des apprentissages. It's a step change and a step change of what the country needs. And again, I just want to thank you, Mike. I want to thank the other skilled trades represented here. I'm going to get in trouble because I won't list them all, from the carpenters to the electricians to plumbers and pipe fitters, exactly. Millwrights from across the country who are here, employers working with them, and I guess I'll just underscore one final thing, which is, and then we will take questions, which is, I think we all have a responsibility, certainly we do in government, helped by the unions, helped by teachers and educators, businesses, is to get the message out. We are building this country strong. We are going to build for decades, and because of that, it is going to be a great time to be in the trades. If you're a young person, anywhere 15 to 30, and you're thinking about it, follow up, contact your local union, contact your local MP, ask your teacher. We'll help to get you into this great career and make our country stronger, more resilient, more independent, better for all. Thank you very much. Merci.
Bon, Martin, thank you. We'll take a few brief questions. Première question.
Yeah.
Megan?
Good morning, Prime Minister. Megan Fitzpatrick from CBC News. I'd like to ask you about a former commander in Iran's Revolutionary Guard who reportedly got very close to entering Canada for the FIFA Congress. Was he granted a temporary resident permit to allow him to come? And if so, was that a mistake on someone's part? And what actions are your government going to take in light of this situation to ensure and reassure Canadians who might be questioning the integrity of Canada's immigration system?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. I think the first thing I'll say is, just for context, under our system, I can't comment on the specifics of individual cases. I can provide the following assurances and facts. One is that, as you know, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard and all those members, the Revolutionary Guard has been listed as a terrorist organization for several years. The members are prohibited from coming. We have a series of screenings and we take action, and no members have entered the country. Action has been taken appropriately. We have, in our screening over the course of the last year, for example, over 20,000 individuals were prevented from entering the country under those, not 20,000 members of the Revolutionary Guard, to be clear, but just to give you a scale of those actions. And look, there are multiple hurdles in order to get into the country, and I think the important thing is that those hurdles are effective, and we continue to see that. And of course, in any circumstance, any period of time, there's always reviews of what's been done and where things can be improved. But the assurance, the core assurance to Canadians is members of the Revolutionary Guard rightly have been prohibited from entering this country, and they will not enter this country. Thank you.
Next question.
Hello, sir. Nathaniel Dove from Global News. Can you please unpack the announcement yesterday about the Defense Resilience and Security Bank? What is its role? What does it do for Canada? And if it does, how does it help Canada reach its NATO 5% GDP goal?
Yeah, very good. Well, I think the first thing is to say is to recognize that it's good news, it's progress, but it's not the end of a process. It's an important step in a process. Effectively, about 20 countries have come together. There's possibility of more being added over time to set up a new financial institution. And what does it do? The core of what it would do is to finance the private sector in helping to build out in Canada and in other countries, but I'll focus on Canada, to build out our defense capacity. And that defense capacity, by the way, lots of work for the skilled trades in doing so, in doing that. And I'll finish on the bank and I'll make a broader point about that if I can. So what does the bank do? It provides a much more efficient way of funding those new activities, because you bring together the collective strength of a big number of countries. And this is a model that's used in the World Bank, for example, it's used in the European Investment Bank, it's used in a variety of international organizations when you have a specific need. In this case, it's not just Canada that's increasing towards that 5% of GDP, it's all of those other countries that have made that commitment by pooling together. We're stronger financially, and it's a testament to Canada's reputation, Canada's commitment, Canada's financial expertise, and our sense of innovation and partnership that we work with other countries. So it's the first step. There's more to be done. This will unfold over certainly months and I would say over quarters in terms of process to move forward, but it's a very welcome development. The broader point I wanted to make, which is relevant, I can't look at all these cranes and all these great workers and union leaders and others and not make this point, is that as Canada moves towards that 5% target over the course of the next decade, 5% of GDP target, more than a third, about a third of that is so-called dual-use application. So it can mean lengthening runways in the Arctic. It can mean developing certain types of base structures or ports that are used for military applications, but as well for businesses and for individuals. It can be building our resilience in a variety of ways in more climate resilient infrastructure as well. And all of that requires the skilled trades. All of that is being built here. And I haven't even touched on, and this is my last point, our commitment to have more of our core defense spend in Canada. So whether it's in building ships and icebreakers, whether it's partnering, greater partnerships, more intensive partnerships in building new aircraft and others. So all of this is good news. It's good news to protect Canada, it's good news for cooperation, and it's great news for jobs, both in financial sector, but more broadly in the skilled trades. Thank you.
Question, Christian. Next question.
Good, I've never...
Bonjour, Luna Marché, Radio-Canada. Une question en français pour vous. Pourquoi Jonathan Wilkinson n'avait pas les qualités nécessaires de siéger à votre cabinet, mais qu'il est qualifié pour un rôle d'ambassadeur auprès de l'Union européenne?
Premièrement, merci pour votre question. Premièrement, j'ai beaucoup d'estime pour M. Wilkinson. Je connais Jonathan depuis 25 ans, quand il était un entrepreneur, une PDG d'une société très capable dans le domaine de clean tech à Vancouver. Et après tout cela, il était un ministre avec beaucoup de responsabilités dans le gouvernement du Canada. Et il est au fond, il est un individu avec des talents, divers talents, à un moment qu'on a besoin des talents afin de renforcer et développer les relations entre le Canada et l'Union européenne. L'Union européenne, c'est une, vous le savez, mais c'est une organisation unique, c'est très technique, c'est très sérieux, des commissaires, les présidents, Mme van der Leyen, le président du Conseil européen, M. Costa, tous les commissaires, ils sont des individus, c'est un peu bizarre de dire comme cela, mais ils sont des individus sérieux, détaillés. Ils font des négociations tout le temps. Il faut avoir un ambassadeur très senior, avec beaucoup de talent. C'est un job comme d'être une ministre, une grande ministre du cabinet du gouvernement du Canada. Et alors, M. Wilkinson et moi, nous avons eu une conversation après l'élection. OK, est-ce qu'on peut trouver une manière d'avoir un job comme cela à un moment donné, un moment où c'est nécessaire pour le Canada, parce que c'est un moment échelonné pour le Canada et un moment très important pour nos relations entre l'Union européenne. OK, merci.
We'll have time for 2 more questions. There's a question. Go ahead, please. Next question.
Hi, Prime Minister. Thanks for taking our questions. Sharif Hassan from the Canadian Press.
Yes.
My question is that do you think that the conservative diplomatic missions to Washington, D.C. help or hurt your government's efforts as you are negotiating with Americans?
Well, look, it's we're both free countries, so people can go where they wish. Any information that's it has not been our experience that people have gone to Washington and have learned anything new. Nor has it been that they have learned everything that is either being discussed on the table or where the negotiations are. In the end, there's one negotiator for Canada, and that is the Government of Canada. Our interlocutors in the United States are generous people. They're generous with their time, and it's good of them to meet a host of Canadians coming down. But in the end, they know and we know that we're the negotiators. So, thank you.
We'll have time for the last question. Dernière question, Aaron.
Eric Checker with Turkish Voice of Canada. Prime Minister, it's nice to still see you in MP Akan's riding of Oakville West. Yes,
that's right.
Between the sovereign fund and then the defense bank, your government is moving tens of billions of dollars into arm's-length corporations that operate outside the direct scrutiny of the parliament. Are you creating a shadow budget to fund your political priorities, as critics argue? Are you shielding the specific debts and investment risks from the accountability of the House of Commons, and which could financially hurt the Canadian people in the future?
Absolutely not. The first thing is that and it's essential with any financial institution associated, I'll just speak for the federal government, associated with the federal government, and I speak under the control of the chair of the House Finance Committee, who is one of the committees, and Ms. Gould, discharges those responsibilities directly. One of the committees that holds to account government financial institutions, whether it's the Bank of Canada, EDC, CIB, and others. They do much more than that, but it's one of the core elements. It's essential that any of those financial institutions, Canada Infrastructure Bank, as another example, that they are transparent, that they're reporting their activities through annual reports, through testimony and and providing it. But let's be clear about what the Canada Strong Fund, the Sovereign Wealth Fund, does. Because, and I want to, again, bring us back to where we are and what it represents. We're building this country strong. We're building this country strong with major infrastructure at a level that we saw with the St. Lawrence Seaway, we saw with, going back to the Canadian Pacific Railroad that first bound this country together. But we're going to build it differently than we did in the past. We're going to build it in a partnership, true partnership with Indigenous peoples. We are going to build it sustainably, a focus on sustainability in terms of the projects and how we build. We're going to build it in solidarity with workers, with union workers, and we're going to build it for Canadians. And that's where the Sovereign Wealth Fund comes in, the Canada Strong Fund comes in. Because in the past, what happens through government intervention, and it's the right thing to do for the economy, provide support through loans, provide certain incentives and others to get these big projects done. It's good work. It helps grow the economy. St. Lawrence Seaway created all these export opportunities, for example, for thousands of businesses, hundreds of thousands of Canadian jobs, and that's great. And that's what will happen with what we're doing. But at the core of each of these is a business, a private project that makes money, makes a profit. That's fair, that's good, they're taking risk. But what the Sovereign Fund can do is that we share in some of that we, all Canadians, are an investor in that. Through the Government of Canada as the intermediary, we will make it possible for others to come in. And that's a partnership model. It'll be absolutely clear how that's done. It'll be run as an arm's length, Crown Corporation, professional board, public reporting. So it's an exciting opportunity. It's a new way of building, and it's building with union workers. It's building the country strong.
We have the local Oakville paper
Wait,
for one
please
last
stop.
question.
I know, I like it.
Hi, Adam Atkinson,
Sorry.
CHCH News. Like Manitoba, Ontario is looking to ban cell phones and social media in classrooms. What's your position on this, and what can the federal government do?
Well, I think thank you for the question. It's an important issue. I mean, I respect the jurisdictions in terms of responsibilities for education and certainly primary and secondary education. I will say as a parent, my children have now graduated through. I wish such measures, to speak personally, I think I see the real value in those measures being in place in the classroom. But those are decisions for the provinces. What we will look at in the coming months as the federal government is, and we are looking at, is a series of issues that have been delayed, quite frankly, that fall in federal responsibility, online harms responsibilities, considerations of other aspects of applications of AI, protections around artificial intelligence, making it safe for AI, as I say, online harms, child exploitation and exploitation of others. But we'll come back in a comprehensive way on that. So, what? Okay.
Quick clarification to your previous answer on the IRGC members being banned from Canada. You said none have entered, nor will they. Does that ban also apply to former members
Yes.
of the IGRC?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Thank you. This puts
Thank
an
you
end to
very
our
much.
press conference. Merci. C'est pas vrai à notre conférence de presse. Thank you.
Very good. Merci beaucoup.
Just, you're gonna have to get down here. I think
No, it
I have to be
picks
loud.
up every word.
It picks up everything. Should have brought a leprechaun out. Like, on behalf of the operating engineers, Local 793, and the operating engineers represented across Canada, all of our apprentices, our instructors, our staff, and our special guests here from industry, the other trades, our friends, contractors who our members work for, who came out here at very, very short notice for this announcement. I just wanted to thank all of you. And I want to thank Prime Minister and his team. The last time he was here was 390 days ago. And at that time, we pledged our support for Prime Minister Carney. And he hasn't let us down one bit. He hit the ground running. He's got more hits than the Beatles had in their first 390 days, I think. So he's taken the world by storm. He's making Canada respected all over the world in terms of investment coming back into this country. He's working hard, and we appreciate it. We know he didn't have to do this. He could have retired. So keep up the good work. We know it's not an easy job, especially with our friends to the south. They're not all bad. Apparently in Buffalo, they finished the Canadian anthem at the Buffalo Sabres game. So hopefully we can get things back on track with CUSMA, but nobody better than your team to do that. So thank you very much for working on our behalf.